Hey, Ag Teacher Thoughts here, coming at you with another video. Today we were back in the lab, and today's lab was on meristematic tissue in plants. So meristematic tissue, it is very, very important when you're a nurseryman to understand its function and how it affects the plant. Also knowing where it's located in the plant is very, very useful. So for my students, when we look at meristematic tissue, we go by a good old standby, which is onion root tips. So the tips of the onion root do have a cluster of meristematic cells right near the end of them. So I had my students take and prepare the green onions. We let them sit in a damp paper towel for about week and a half for the roots to develop, and then we brought them into the lab today and began our treatment of them. With a little bit of help of our chemistry teacher, Mr. McDowell, we prepared a half molar solution of hydrochloric acid. Yes, half molar. Those of you that remember way back to chemistry in high school or maybe college would know what a mole is, and it is a type of measurement. It's a chemical measurement. I'm a little fuzzy on it, but one way or the other, we needed a half molar solution. And with that, we washed our root tips with that for about 10 minutes. And that broke up the root wall or the root cell walls, which would allow them to accept our dye a little bit more readily. And the dye that we used today was methylene blue. So we have soaked them in the methylene blue after they were broken down a little bit by the hydrochloric acid. So this is going to end up being a 2-day lab for our students. So they prepped the cells or the root tips today, and they will come back tomorrow and look at those under the microscope. So we've got that in there, a little bit of distilled water to keep them from drying out. And they'll smash those down tomorrow. So they'll take that cover slip and they're going to push down on it a little bit to make sure that that is a little bit more compact and spreads the cells out so they can see them. So why do I want my students looking at meristematic tissue in plants? Well, if you know where it is in the plant and you understand that the meristematic tissue acts almost like the brain or the control center of the plant, then you can learn how to manipulate that tissue to make the plant do things that you want. So for example, if you have petunia, petunias love to grow in a long straight line. They're related to tomatoes, so they like to grow a long straight vine. Well, long straight single vines don't look good in hanging baskets. You want many long vines on a hanging basket. So if you understand that the meristematic tissue, or a cluster of cells right near the tip of that plant, controls how it branches or how that branch hangs, then you can remove it or change its position and get it to activate and change that plant in different ways. So when we go through and pinch or remove the tips of our plant, we're removing the control center or the meristematic tissue in the tip of that plant that's controlling how that branch moves. And that's going to trigger that plant to create new meristematic tissue, and it'll activate all of the buds that were further back on the branch than that tip. And that's where they're going to start branching out, and each branch is going to try to become the new king of the meristematic tissue and control that plant. So with my students, this is a part of that discussion where we start to identify it, we look at it, and we understand how it works, and they get a chance to actually see it themselves. Now, we could have used other things for our meristematic tissue. We could have used the buds from plants, but we chose roots because these are by far the easiest to see. So we're going to use that root tip tissue. It will last for a few days, so they'll definitely get a chance to see it tomorrow or maybe even Friday. But there's another lab, something else to do with my greenhouse students, give them microscope experience and let them see some of those microscopic structures up close. Hope this interests you and gives you a chance to learn a little bit about what we do. Ag Teacher Thoughts out.